to hear noises like this anywhere in Ireland today. The coronavirus pandemic has ground Ireland to a standstill. People are unable to leave their homes, and with children not being able to go to school, training, or meeting their friends, are young people giving up the so-called best years of their lives for the good of the country? Ireland took a while to adjust to the new healthcare guidelines, with a lot of attention being directed at some young people making light of the global pandemic.
I don't think it's a good idea to have a coronavirus party. The same like I wouldn't think to have like a varicella party, because you never know, even though you're young, you might still develop complications. You might still become severely sick. It doesn't mean that because unfortunately, there is an emphasis that the high risk groups are the elderly, the people with diabetes and all that. But it doesn't mean that the others are not going to get sick. It's just that they have a better chance of coming out alive.
If your actions are helping to spread this virus, then you're not helping the country. Okay? Now that's an individual, that's a person who thinks that they're going to have a play dates, people that think they're going to have COVID parties. If you're making those decisions now in the interests of the virus, then you're not making them in the interests of the country, and we're not going to win.
For some, life hasn't changed too much, with the government advising the agricultural industry to continue working to keep the supply line going in the country.
Nothing has really changed because I still go down the yard every day. The only difference is that I don't see my friends that much. With school, it's sometimes hard because there's lots of different websites you have to look at to get all the homework from the different teachers, and I'm not great with technology, but you can tell the teachers are trying their best.
Life hasn't been the same for people heavily involved in sports. I spoke to UCC and Tipperary under-20 player Owen Power about the closure of pitches because of safety concerns. So how has the coronavirus affected your sporting life?
It's stopped me from training, both hurling and football, and I'm not allowed to play matches. I've been with the college. I go to UCC down in Cork, and we got into a Fresher B All-Ireland final, and it was supposed to be played 3 weeks after the initial lockdown went down. Well, the initial lockdown came in, so it's prevented me from playing that. And then there was a county semi-final with the club, Ballina in North Tipperary, and that would have been played in the next, probably a month after the lockdown was first introduced, so it's restricted me from playing that.
And how badly do you think this will affect Irish sports and players in the future?
It will affect people that are on the age group in relation to GA with county teams, because if you were minor, let's say, or under 20s, I imagine it would affect you a lot more than anyone in under 14s or 15s. That could have been your chance just to get on that county team and make a name for yourself within the county. I suppose it works for the club teams as well. You could have had an outstanding year this year, and we can never find out, and your club could have gone very far, but I guess we can't know that.
And do you think they've been very strict with how they're closing all the pitches?
I do and I don't. I agree with closing the pitches because it stops everyone from meeting up, because if you've nothing to do, the majority of Irish people will just go down to the field. And the way I don't agree with it is, if you were to go down to the field, you would never be like within 2 meters of each other. You'd always be 6 or 7, if not more. And usually all the time more, because who wants to be pucking the ball 2 meters apart, or kick a ball 2 meters apart, or do anything 2 meters apart in the field? The whole point is you get out and you get to puck and kick as far as you can. You use the space around you. So that's the reason I don't really get why, but I do agree with them being closed, but I can see why people would argue that aspect of it.
For now, we cannot be sure how the pandemic will end in Ireland. We can only be hopeful. These small sacrifices are all worthwhile for the safety of the country.